Okay, so I'm going to begin with the final product here. This is one of 6 Photoshop documents that I'd like you to complete today, rule of thirds, and the other 5 compositional elements that you're going to put together. Okay, for now, I've got this saved, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it away. And it looks like I have 2 of them, so I'm going to put that one away as well. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm going to find my compositional elements folder. My compositional elements folder only has 1 compositional element. Yours should have 6. I'm going to work with rule of thirds on this. And let me put this. Okay, sorry about this. Okay, so I'm going to open up rule of thirds. And I have a whole host of photos in here. And what I want to do is I'd like to open up my photos in Photoshop. I can do that a number of ways. I can go to Photoshop first, and I can go to File, Open, and then I can go search for the photo. But if I'm already looking at the photo in Finder, best way to open it is just to simply take the image and drag it right on top of the icon. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And there's my photo. Actually, I don't want to use that photo because it's got a grid on it. Here's one without a grid. I'm putting it on top. There it is. And I'll go for a third. I don't know if this one has it or not. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to use these 3 photos. And if you look up top here, because I dragged them on top of the icon, I've produced 3 tabs. Okay, so I've got 3 photos that are open, but we're only looking at one at a time here. First thing I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you, and I'd like you to write this down if you would. I'm going to ask you to create a new document that's this size. Okay? So 1200 in width by 250 in height. Okay? And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go to File, New. And here's my new documents. Most of you, when you open it, it's going to be in inches. Okay? We don't want it in inches. Jordan? Yeah, 1200 by 250 in height. That's written right here. That's okay, 250. 1200 by 250. So when your box for your new document opens, first thing you're going to need to do is change inches to pixels. So there it is. You change 1 and they both change. And so my width is 1200. My height is 250. If I go ahead and click OK, there's my box. If I want to shrink it to fit, I can do that. Command minus, Command plus. For now, that looks like a pretty good size. Okay. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be dragging photos from one document onto this. So what we need to do is we need to get some separation. So I'm going to take the tab in the top, I'm going to click and hold it, I'm just going to pull it off. Okay? So this is separate, it floats around. And you could do it with all 4, it might get a little messy. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my, Move tool, which is the arrow. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to grab the photo right in the middle and I'm just going to drag it down. And there's the photo here. Okay. What I want to do is I want the height of the photo to be the exact same height as the 250 that I started this document with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Command T for transform. I'm going to shrink the photo to fit in there. So if I go Command T, you see that this box on the outside forms. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from the corners. Super important. Take a look at how I ruined this photo easily. I'm just going to pull from the corners, and I've just ruined it. I've ruined it by changing the dimensions of the photo. And once you start getting into this area, if you want to put it back the way it was, you just kind of have to eyeball it, and it's guesswork from here. Okay? So I'm just going to go Command Z, which is undo. Command Option Z does it several times. So there's the original dimensions. Here's how you keep the dimensions. You hold the Shift key down while you do it. Okay, so if I hold the Shift key down And I have to pull from corners. If I pull from the side, I'm going to get the same issue. So don't pull from the side. Use your corners. And the dimensions stay precise. It doesn't matter how erratic I am. As long as I'm holding the shift key down, it'll stay perfect. So I'm going to get it to just fit right on there. I'm going to go up top, bring this down, and then I'm set. So I feel good about that. The photo itself, the layer is still selected, so I have to go back to my pointer key, click it, and it's going to ask me, do you want to apply this? If I say no, it goes back to the original. Here I'm going to apply it, and now I have got a background layer that's all white, and then I have layer 1, which is this tractor. So I'm going to just move the tractor over here a little bit, and then I'm going to do it with the next photo. Here's my fire hydrant. The fire hydrant significantly larger. Command T. Hold down. Hold up. I'm going to hold the shift key down to move it with my arrows. And that looks pretty close for me. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my select key, hit transform. Puppy's the last one. I'll pull the puppy down. Hit Command T. Same thing. Okay, so as you can tell, my 1200, because I've maintained the height of the photos throughout, my 1200 is a little bit long. So what we're going to do is we're going to crop the photo. And this is how you crop. This is a select tool here, the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a box around everything I want to keep. Everything but the white. So it's all selected. And I'm just going to go to Image, Crop. Looks like I could use a little bit more. Image, Crop. Okay. All right. So that's basically it, with the exception of my text. So I'm going to write the compositional element right across the front. And that is rule of thirds. I'm going to just click right here and type in all caps. Rule of thirds. Looks like it's super big. And then also notice that the words go behind the puppy. And the reason for that is on my layers palette, rule of thirds is below the puppy. So if I want to fix that, all I have to do is pick this up. And now it's on top. And as you can see, it's just too big to fit in there. Same thing. Command T. Hold the shift key down. And I'm just going to shrink it. Shrink to fit. And that looks pretty good. Make your compositional element really large so it stretches across most of all three photos. Yeah, Neil.
How do you get open the layers?
The layer, if the layers thing is not open automatically, oops. Just go up to Window, Layers, and it'll pop open. Right. It should open by default. Sometimes it doesn't. All right. Last thing I'd like you to do is to change your words to white. So if I click once and do Command A, select all. This is my color right here. So if I click that, I can change to white up top. And you see how that works out. The words themselves are a little bit too dominant. I still want to see the photo below it, so I'm going to decrease the opacity. I'm going to dim the words, or dim the letters. And that's right here on your layers palette. Go in about, I don't know, 50%. And I might move the words down just a little bit. Okay, so I can read it, I can see through it. It's working out for me. Okay? Last thing I want to do is save it. So I'm going to go File, Save As. And a couple of things I want to point out to you here as far as formats go. By default, it'll save it as a Photoshop document. PSD stands for Photoshop document. And I'm just going to show you the difference between the two. So I'm going to save this one as a PSD. So just click Save. Okay. Save it again as a normal image format. One of the normal image formats, perhaps the most popular, is a JPEG, JPG. And I'm going to go ahead and save it. And there it is. So two things I want to point out. My PSD is still open. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up my JPEG. What do you got? You want me to do something? Oh, are you out? Or are you in? You lucky kid. Everybody say hi to Victor.
Hi, Victor.
See, aren't they a nice bunch of kids? You feeling? All right, just grab that seat right back there, Victor, and we'll acclimate in a few. All right, so I'm going to open up the JPEG. So I have two different kinds of files here. One's a PSD. With the PSD, I maintain all of my layers, which means I save this, I open it up again, I can go into each of those individual layers and change them. I can continue editing. If I go and save it as a JPEG, notice what happens. There's only one layer, it's a background. I can't continue editing. I mean, I could, but it'd be super hard. All right? So if you think you're going to want it to continue editing in the future, always save it as a PSD. When you're turning in a final image to me, it'll be a JPEG. Okay, so I know that you feel that you're finished with that. All right? That is it. I'm going to go ahead and stop.